I've got something really good for you this week. There's something a little bit different, and it's going to be the norm as we move forward. As one chapter closes in a certain part of my life, another one opens, and we're going to kick that off with something really spectacular, something very exciting, and we're going to take lots of photographs, but we're going to do it in Albania. So I think I've got everything. The bags are packed, the batteries are charged, so enough about that. Should we go to Albania? Let's go. Here we are, we're somewhere new. I did promise it. We're in Albania, and the temperature at the moment at 10 in the morning is roughly equivalent to the surface of the sun. It's 38 degrees and it's only set to get a little bit hotter. Here's the digs. I'm staying here. This is the Montflux Hotel. It is absolutely fantastic. The staff are super friendly. The room is ultra modern, ultra clean, and they couldn't do enough to make you feel more welcome. But enough about that, because we're here to do photography, and we're going to head into the main town of Shkodra and we'll do some street photography. But today we're going somewhere different. We're going to go in the hire car and we're driving into the mountains. So let's go to the village of Theth, because there's something there that should be quite spectacular. Let's go. So here we are on a glorious sunset, just about to happen. Sun's about to go down behind the mountains, and I'm in the village of Theth. You're going to see lots of shots from around this place because it is simply staggering. So if you're looking for somewhere new to go with your camera, you'll do a lot worse than coming here. But anyway, this isn't a travel video. We're here to talk about photography, and I thought that this would be an absolutely perfect example to talk a little bit more about my favourite topic, composition. Now, there's a very famous church in Theth, and you'll see some photographs throughout this video, probably more than a few. But the reason that I've taken so many is to show you there are lots of different ways of taking the same photograph. If you remember back in one of my videos, I was talking about try not be a tourist. I've been here for a couple of hours, and it's exactly what you would expect. People coming with their mobile phones, holding them up at eye level, taking a photograph of the church, two people standing in front of it, and that's it. But there's so much more magic here if you take your time and try and put a little bit of thought into it. And another reason for making this video is a lot of you guys have given me comments or sent me questions saying it's all very well talking about using good composition, but what does that look like in the field? Can I give you some examples of how I would set up a shot? So that's exactly what we're going to do, and we're going to use this church as the subject. So how's about this for a subject? It couldn't really be any more picturesque. So what are you going to do? Are you going to take your camera out your bag? Are you just going to hold it up here, get something slightly wide on, take the photograph, and that's you? And I will be upfront, it's very difficult to take a bad photograph of this, but to take a great photograph of that, you need to start doing some other stuff. So where are you now, David? Where's the church? That's a good question. And the reason I'm over here is I've spent some time looking to see what I want to involve in the photograph to make the church stand out. And what I've noticed here is a lot of these white flowers. So again, the church is over there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my camera. Hopefully you can still hear me. Look out for all the locusts and crickets. Are there snakes in Albania? I'm going to get my screen open. I'm going to come down way low. And again, I'm going to shoot in aperture priority. I'm bringing in the flowers in the foreground. And I'm shooting at f2.8, so the flowers will be nice and blown out. But that'll give a nice foreground element to the shot, and hopefully it'll turn out quite good. I'll pop that up on the screen and see what you think. David, you're in the shade. This is going to look like a terrible photograph. Well, you would think so. But again, I'm going to use f2.8. I'm going to bump my ISO if I need to. But there's a very specific reason why I'm standing here. And you can see the little gap where the bell should be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to position the sun right through that gap. I'm going to shut my aperture down to about f18. And I'm going to see if I can bring in some sun stars. Because sun stars, let's face it, we all know they're magic. So if this shot turns out, I'll pop that up on the screen as well. Another thing that's really good is if you take your time. I'm whispering just now because there's a congregation going on behind me, and that's going to make for a great photograph if I'm brave enough to take it. But even if I'm not, over here we've got a beautiful tree right next to the church, and with people sitting underneath it. It's quite a staggering shot. Let's take something and see how that turns out. So it's not always just about what shot you take. I've been here for a little over 24 hours, so I've walked right round this location. I've picked these spots, and I know that at 5:30 the sun is about to hit those mountains, so I'm going to lose a lot of the sunlight, but it will still have a nice early evening glow. I know that the sun rises at 7:30 in the morning, it comes over the mountains over there, and this whole area gets bathed in a lovely morning golden hour. So make sure whenever you go out, you know where you're going, you have a plan of what you're going to try and take, and try and pace things out. And when you get there, make sure you're not just hunting about looking for something at the last minute, because light can be very, very fleeting. It can be there and gone within 10 seconds. But if you know where you're meant to be, how you're meant to set up, the job's a good one. Another thing to consider when you're looking for a good compositional angle is you don't have to be right next to the thing you're trying to take a photograph. I've walked about 500 yards away from the church, and the reason being is because I like this fence. I like there is the tree to the right hand side of the church, there's the bushes to the left hand, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and frame all of that around it and have the church just sticking out of the back. And if that turns out any good, here's that shot. So the last thing I'm going to talk about tonight is leading lines, because sometimes you are blessed with something that takes your eye from the bottom of the frame all the way into the image, but sometimes you don't get the foreground that you're looking for. So how do we make the bottom of the frame a little bit more interesting? So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, I'm going to use my viewfinder, I'm going to fall there, did you see that? And I'm going to come all the way down to the ground, and I'm going to use the gravel as my leading line all the way up to the frame and capture that. So we'll see how that one turns out. But again, get creative. There's no bushes, flowers, nice things here, just a dusty gravel path. But by shooting at 2.8, it starts to blur that, so your eye isn't really drawn to something that's not particularly attractive, like me. So I hope some of that's been useful and given you some other ideas of what you can do the next time you're out. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about something else that's really helped me develop in that area. And that's when I tried to push myself out of my comfort zone. And instead of just doing landscape photography, I spent some time about 2 days ago doing some street photography. And I've got some great pals and friends who are awesome at street photography, and I picked their brains about what they do to try and capture their images. So I'll put some of them up on the screen just now. And the reason I'm doing that just now is a lot of the framing techniques that you'll see in some of these shots, I've now started applying to my landscape photography, and my personal belief is it gives it another added layer of interest. It's not, as we said in another video, pin sharp from front to back. So one of the key skills of being a good street photographer is being able to notice shapes, to notice contrast between different colours, light and darks, blacks and whites, and then making sure that your image in your frame composes those parts. But what it really has done is expanded my mind into what's possible. And when I go out in the field and I'm trying to take a shot of a mountain or whatever it may be, I'm starting to look for those contrasts between black and white areas. I'm looking for stark colours that complement each other instead of just trying to frame the staggeringly good looking mountain and taking a photograph of it. And as I've said before, I try to make sure that I'm not worried now about being pin sharp from front to back, and I'm equally now not worried about ISO being 100. So try and let go of some of the things that you've been taught. Go out and try some different things, and I would heartily recommend that you try a different genre from what it is you normally shoot in, because the skill set you will learn in that, there will be an application for it in what you do in your day job. I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and thanks for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one, when it might be less than 37 degrees and I might not be bathed in a cold sweat. My apologies. See you soon.